Before the United States was a country, it was really just a patchwork of colonies. 13 colonies stretched along the Atlantic coast, and people came from all over Europe to start new lives. They brought their hopes and dreams, but they also brought their money. Now there was no single American dollar back then. No national mint existed to create a unified currency. Instead, the marketplaces and shops buzzed with the clinking of foreign coins. Commerce was, honestly, a complex tapestry woven from the currencies of distant empires. Folks had to be experts in exchange rates just to buy their daily bread. The most common gold coin was the Spanish doubloon, also called the escudo. These coins came from the rich mines of Mexico and Peru, and they were famous for their consistent weight and purity. Spanish ships, called galleons, carried this treasure across the ocean, and, well, many of these coins ended up in the American colonies through trade. A Spanish 8 escudo coin was a large, heavy piece of gold, a symbol of great wealth. Colonists trusted these coins. They were the unofficial gold standard long before the United States had its own. British coins like the guinea also circulated. The guinea was named after the Guinea coast of Africa, where much of its gold came from. It was a beautiful coin, often featuring the portrait of the reigning king or queen. But British coins were often in short supply. England wanted to keep its gold at home, which made trade difficult for the colonists. They needed a reliable medium of exchange to grow their economy, and the scarcity of official British money was a constant source of frustration. It was one of many small grievances that would eventually lead to a revolution. Another important coin was the Portuguese Johannes, or Joe. These coins were large and valuable, much like the Spanish doubloons, and they came from the gold mines of Brazil, a Portuguese colony. A half-Joe was a common sight in colonial ledgers and account books. These foreign coins were essential. They allowed the colonies to trade with each other and with the world. They were the lifeblood of the colonial economy. Each coin told a story of empire, of trade, and of a new society being built far from the old world centers of power. This chaotic mix of currencies really highlighted the need for a truly American system. The American Revolution was won, and a new nation was born. But it was a nation without its own money. The founding fathers knew this was a problem. A country needed its own currency to be truly independent. It was a matter of national pride, and honestly, a matter of practical economics too. Leaders like Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson debated what this new money should look like. They wanted a system that was simple, logical, and trustworthy. They wanted to move away from the confusing mix of foreign coins that had defined the colonial era. On April 2, 1792, the United States Congress passed a historic law called the Coinage Act. This act did something remarkable. It established the United States Mint in Philadelphia. For the first time, America would have its own facility to create its own coins. The act also established the dollar as the nation's official unit of currency. It was based on the familiar Spanish milled dollar, but now it was uniquely American. This was a powerful statement to the world. The United States was a sovereign nation, ready to manage its own affairs. The Coinage Act of 1792 was incredibly detailed. It specified the exact metals to be used. There would be gold, silver, and copper coins. This created a bimetallic standard, meaning the value of the currency was tied to both gold and silver. The act set a fixed ratio between the two metals, saying that 1 ounce of gold was worth 15 ounces of silver. This seemed like a good idea at the time. It was meant to create a stable and abundant money supply, but this fixed ratio would cause problems for many years to come. The law also dictated the first American coins to be made. There would be gold coins called eagles, half eagles, and quarter eagles, with values of $10, $5, and $2.50. There would be silver coins, including the dollar, half dollar, quarter, dime, and half dime. And there would be copper cents and half cents. Every detail was planned. The Coinage Act was more than just a law about money. It was a blueprint for the economic future of the United States. It was a declaration of financial independence. The first United States Mint was a humble building in Philadelphia, and it was actually the first federal building erected by the new government. The work inside was slow and difficult. The machinery was powered by horses and men. Creating the dies to strike the coins was a delicate art. The first gold coins weren't produced until 1795, and there was great excitement when these first pieces of American gold finally appeared. They were tangible symbols of the young republic's wealth and promise. A source of immense national pride for a country still finding its footing on the world stage. The design of these first gold coins was very important. The Coinage Act required that one side of the coin feature an image emblematic of liberty. The first design was called the capped bust. It showed Lady Liberty with flowing hair, and she wore a soft cap, which was a symbol of freedom. This image was not of a queen or a king. It was a celebration of an ideal. The other side of the coin was required to have an eagle. The first design showed a rather thin, natural-looking eagle perched on a palm branch, holding a wreath in its beak. Soon though, the design of the eagle changed. In 1797, a new reverse was introduced, featuring a heraldic eagle. This was a much more formal and powerful image, based on the Great Seal of the United States. The eagle was large and majestic, holding a shield on its breast. In its talons, it clutched a bundle of arrows and an olive branch. This design was meant to project strength and authority, showing that the United States was a nation to be respected. These early coins were beautiful, but they were not perfect. Their weight and gold content were sometimes inconsistent. The three denominations served different purposes. The $10 gold eagle was a large and valuable coin, used mostly for bank transactions and large international payments. It was not something an ordinary person would carry in their pocket. The $5 half eagle was the workhorse of American gold, and it was the most widely circulated of the three. The $2.50 quarter eagle was smaller, useful for smaller but still significant purchases. Together, these coins formed the foundation of America's new monetary system. They were the nation's first glittering treasures. The bimetallic system created in 1792 had a hidden flaw. The law set the value of gold at 15 times the value of silver, but in the world market, the price of gold was rising. It was soon worth more than 15 times the value of silver, which created a problem. People realized that the gold in American coins was worth more than the coin's face value. They could melt down a $10 gold coin and sell the gold for more than $10 in silver. This is known as Gresham's Law. Bad money drives out good. Because of this, American gold coins began to disappear. People hoarded them, or they melted them down, or they sold them overseas where the gold was valued more highly. By the 1820s, it was very rare to see an American gold coin in circulation. The country was effectively on a silver standard, and this was not what the Founding Fathers had intended. The government knew it had to do something to bring gold back into the economy. The nation's commerce was being held back by the lack of a reliable gold currency, and a change was needed to restore balance. In 1834, Congress passed a new Coinage Act. This act changed the ratio between gold and silver. It now took about 16 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. This new ratio slightly undervalued silver and slightly overvalued gold relative to the world market. President Andrew Jackson championed this change. He was a strong supporter of hard money like gold and silver, and he distrusted banks and paper money. The new law was designed to encourage people to use gold coins again. It was a major shift in American monetary policy. The effect of the 1834 Act was immediate. Gold began to flow back into circulation. The mint even changed the design of the gold coins slightly. The new coins were called the Classic Head Series, and they were a little bit lighter than the older coins. This was done to match the new ratio. Because the old coins were now worth more as metal, most of them were turned in and melted down. This is why the earliest American gold coins are so rare for collectors today. The Coinage Act of 1834 successfully put gold back in the pockets of Americans, setting the stage for the next chapter in the nation's economic story. In 1848, a man named James W. Marshall made a discovery. He was building a sawmill for John Sutter in California, and in the American River, he saw something shining. It was gold. News of the discovery spread like wildfire. Soon, people from all over the United States and the world were rushing to California. They were called 49ers. They dreamed of striking it rich. This event, the California Gold Rush, would change the United States forever. It brought a massive amount of new gold into the American economy. But you know, the flood of new gold created a problem. There was not enough official currency to handle all the new wealth. To solve this, many private companies in California began to mint their own coins. These are called territorial gold coins. They were made by trusted assayers who would weigh the gold dust and stamp it into coins. These coins had fascinating designs, often featuring eagles or images of miners. While not official US government coins, they were vital for commerce on the West Coast. They were a temporary solution to a very big problem. The US government responded to the gold rush. In 1849, Congress authorized 2 new denominations of gold coins. The first was a tiny $1 gold piece. It was the smallest coin in US history and was useful for everyday transactions, now that gold was more common. The second was a massive $20 gold coin, called the Double Eagle. This large coin was perfect for turning the huge amounts of California gold into a manageable form, and it quickly became the favorite coin for international trade and large bank reserves. To handle the gold coming from the West, the government opened new mints. A mint was opened in San Francisco in 1854, which was a logical choice since it was right in the heart of the gold country. Now, miners could bring their gold directly to a federal mint to have it turned into official US coins. The San Francisco Mint produced millions of Double Eagles, and these coins often have a small S mint mark on them. The California Gold Rush fundamentally changed America's relationship with gold. It made the nation wealthier and helped fuel its westward expansion. The 1850s were a time of great prosperity, fueled by California gold. Gold coins, especially the new Double Eagles, circulated widely. The nation's economy was strong, but, beneath the surface, deep divisions were growing. The issue of slavery was tearing the country apart. In 1861, the Civil War began. This long and bloody conflict would have a profound impact on every aspect of American life. That included the money people used. War is incredibly expensive. The government needed a way to pay for soldiers, supplies, and weapons. At the start of the war, both the Union and the Confederacy tried to pay their bills with gold and silver, but their reserves quickly ran out. People became fearful about the future, and when people are scared, they tend to hoard hard money like gold and silver coins. This is exactly what happened. Gold and silver coins vanished from circulation almost overnight. They were hidden away in stockings, buried in yards, and locked in safes. The government could no longer rely on coins to finance the war. A new solution was desperately needed. To solve this problem, the Union government made a radical decision. In 1862, it began to print paper money. These bills were not backed by gold or silver. They were backed only by the government's promise to pay. Because of the green ink used on the back, they were called greenbacks. This was the first time the United States had a true national paper currency. At first, people were suspicious of this new money. It was just paper. But as the war went on, greenbacks became essential for the economy. For the duration of the Civil War and for many years after, gold coins were not part of daily life. They were bought and sold as a commodity, like wheat or cotton. Their price in greenbacks went up and down, depending on news from the battlefield. A Union victory would make the value of a greenback go up, and the price of gold go down. A Confederate victory would have the opposite effect. The era of circulating gold was put on hold. The nation was focused on survival. It would take more than a decade after the war ended for gold coins to return to their former place in the American economy. By the late 1800s, the United States had recovered from the Civil War. The nation was growing into an industrial powerhouse. Gold coins were back in circulation. The country was officially on the gold standard. This meant that paper money could be exchanged for a fixed amount of gold. But the designs of American coins had not changed in a long time. The Liberty Head design had been used on gold coins since the 1830s. It was seen by many as uninspired and dull. The country was a rising world power, but its coins did not reflect that. In 1901, Theodore Roosevelt became president. He was a man of immense energy and vision. He wanted to see America's greatness reflected in everything, including its money. He thought the coins were artistically of atrocious hideousness. He believed that a great nation should have beautiful coins, like the ancient Greeks. Roosevelt decided to start what he called his pet crime. He wanted to personally oversee a complete redesign of the nation's coinage. He wanted to create coins that were works of art. This was the beginning of a golden age of American coin design. Roosevelt knew he needed a brilliant artist for this project. He chose Augustus St. Gaudens, the most famous American sculptor of the time. The two men shared a vision. They wanted to create coins with high relief, like ancient Greek coins. High relief means the design is raised high above the surface. This gives it a three-dimensional sculptural quality. St. Gaudens went to work on designs for the $10 eagle and the $20 double eagle. His health was failing, but he poured his final energies into this grand project. He would not live to see the coins enter circulation. The results were breathtaking. The new $20 double eagle is often called the most beautiful coin ever made. It features a powerful image of Lady Liberty striding forward. She holds a torch and an olive branch. On the reverse is a majestic eagle flying through the sun's rays. The $10 eagle was also a masterpiece. It showed Liberty, wearing a Native American war bonnet. The reverse featured a proud, standing eagle. These coins were difficult to mint in high relief, but Roosevelt insisted. They were a triumph of art, and a symbol of a confident, powerful, and modern America. The beautiful coins of the Roosevelt era did not last forever. The world was changing. In 1929, the stock market crashed. The Great Depression began. It was the worst economic crisis in American history. People lost their jobs, their savings, and their homes. Banks failed across the country. Once again, as in the Civil War, people became fearful. They started hoarding gold. They took their paper money to banks and demanded gold coins in exchange. This created a massive drain on the nation's gold reserves at a time when they were needed most. In 1933, a new president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, took office. To stop the banking crisis and stabilize the economy, he took a drastic step. He issued Executive Order 6102. This order made it illegal for private citizens to own most forms of gold. People were required to turn in their gold coins and gold certificates to the government. In exchange, they received paper money. The government then melted down millions of the beautiful St. Gaudens double eagles and other gold coins. Just like that, the era of circulating gold coins in America came to an end. For the next 4 decades, it was illegal for Americans to own gold for investment purposes. Gold was still used by the government to settle international debts, but it was no longer part of the daily monetary system. The United States had left the gold standard for its citizens. The beautiful gold coins of the past became relics. They were objects for collectors, not money to be spent. They were reminders of a different time, a time when wealth was something you could hold in your hand. The nation's economy was now based entirely on faith in the government's paper currency. This changed in the 1970s. The world's financial system was under stress. In 1971, President Richard Nixon announced that the United States would no longer exchange dollars for gold with foreign governments. This ended the last link to the gold standard. A few years later, in 1974, the laws were changed. Again. Americans were once again allowed to own gold. This created a new market for gold bullion. In response, the United States Mint began producing a new kind of gold coin in 1986. The American Gold Eagle was not meant for circulation. It was a bullion coin, created for investors who wanted to own a piece of the timeless metal. Today, American gold coins continue their glittering journey. The United States Mint produces a wide variety of gold coins. There are the American Gold Eagle bullion coins, available in different sizes for investors. There is the American Gold Buffalo, which uses the famous design from the 1913 nickel. And there are many special commemorative gold coins. These coins celebrate important people, places, and events in American history. They are not meant to be spent at the grocery store. They are treasured for their beauty, their precious metal content, and the stories they tell. These modern coins carry on a long tradition. They connect us to the past. When we look at a St. Gaudens double eagle, we can feel the confidence of Theodore Roosevelt's America. When we see a coin with the S Mint mark, we can imagine the excitement of the California gold rush. Even the humble $1 gold piece tells a story of a time when gold was so plentiful it could be used for small purchases. These coins are more than just money. They are historical artifacts. They are small metal canvases that display the art and ideals of their time. The story of American gold coins is also a story of trust. From the Spanish doubloons of the colonial era to the bullion coins of today, gold has always been a symbol of lasting value. In times of uncertainty, people have always turned to gold. It represents a store of wealth that is independent of governments and banks. This is why people still choose to invest in gold today. It is a hedge against inflation and economic turmoil. Owning a gold coin is owning something real, something tangible, something that has been valued by human beings for thousands of years. In the end, American gold coins are a symbol of the nation itself. Their history mirrors the country's own journey. They tell a story of humble beginnings, of revolution and the fight for independence. They speak of westward expansion, of civil war and national division. They showcase a renaissance of art and confidence, followed by economic depression and world-changing decisions. Through it all, the image of liberty and the proud American eagle have endured. These glittering pieces of metal are a testament to the nation's struggles, its triumphs, and its enduring promise. They are a legacy